I changed. Oh, looks like we got it.
We are live.
Awesome.
Okay.
Fire that song up again for the hell of it. We
Come
were
on.
we were holding our breath, everybody.
Here we go. Going live to the music.
Awesome.
I'll do my typical fade out before we transition to the town hall there.
Oh, thank you for changing the words there, Brian. That looks beautiful.
Yeah, I figured it would work.
So today's going to be fun. We got links. There's out on Twitter. So if you know what our Twitter account is, which is at 7talentscom, there is a link there to join us. It's just a lot easier to post it there. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting today, Brian. I'm really stoked that you're going to actually be in with me. Like so.
Hello.
We've got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah. How is it going?
It's good. And, honestly, there's something about the feel of going off the cuff, the fuck it, we'll do it live. I'm sorry, I know this is supposed to be like general audiences, but that right there feels a lot better than the hyper scripted, you missed your mark stuff. And I think we're going to see better content because of it. And that's kind of the topic of today. What I want to discuss with everyone is that we have kind of a discussion that we want to have and get feedback from you. And rather than like pulling it out in Twitter or on Facebook posts or in emails or anything like that, we're just going to put this out here and let you guys post in the comments. So this is my call to action to you. If you do nothing else, I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you dislike it. The only way that you're going to get your voice to be heard is to post a comment or to join us. Right now we are live. It is 7:03 Central Standard Time. I'm hanging out with my boy Brian, and we're going to discuss some things about the content and the format of this show, kind of what we're up to, what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, we have a goal for doing this. It's not, the goal isn't the show. I think that's the big thing to point out. The goal isn't just to have a show. The show has a purpose, and that purpose, if it's not doing what it should be doing, then we are going to reserve the right to switch it up and improve the format and change and modify until it's doing what it's supposed to do, which is serving its purpose, which of itself, the purpose of the show can't be the show itself.
Sure. Well, I mean, what I'd like to think is what we've started off with here is sort of the initial proof of concept, which was before in the early times, it took a huge team to be able to put together any sort of live broadcast to the anywheres.
Oh, we're getting educational on it tonight.
Right.
That's
So
awesome. This will not be 30 minutes today. I promise you, all of you.
Then flash forward to the the age of the internet, stage 2,
Yeah.
where broadcasting becomes slightly easier, but still takes a room full of people, coordination. It takes a secure
Yep.
connection to the internet. What it used to be to rent satellite trucks.
Right.
Now we live in this
Middle
second stage of the internet as we're growing into it. Or you may have told me once you believe this is the third stage, which is fair.
Yeah, I think it
But
is. I think it is.
as we go into this transition, now it's so much easier to go live into stream that as they say, anyone and everyone can participate. And so because of that, being able to prove that we can remotely from two different places be able to create concept, set up picture, audio, stream, and then be able to send said content to, according to my board, 4 different websites while we record it, doing all of that, giving us just a very unique freedom. So part 1 of what we were going on here is already that. It was sort of this proof of concept that we don't even have to be in the same room anymore to be able to produce the same level of content that we've produced once upon a time. To a certain point, the engagement has gotten there, and it's through the software we've been using.
Well, and
What you got me caught up in this year was just how many softwares there are available to do it, and how much of a competition they're all in. Realizing that now YouTube has competition on the interwebs for different eyes based on the way that they allowed advertisers to control the message.
yeah, yeah, and
So,
it's been really fascinating. I want to interject here,
sure,
just the fact that the you and I come from this entire industry from a different angle. We come from the professional production side, not the I decided I want to do a show because I saw someone else do a show on the internet.
sure,
And we've brought to this industry these experiences, and we're trying to figure out the right way to synthesize those experiences so that they're beneficial to community.
sure.
And
And
we see the internet as ultimately the ultimate town hall, the ultimate community, and a section of that community should be dedicated to improving the town hall, which is that's kind of the analogy of what Seven Talents is as a company. We actually want to create a community of professionals who can elevate the voices within the community. It's because if you go to a church meeting, there's always the AV team, the Philo team, FILO, first in, last out. And we're kind of the Philo team for people who want to make better content. And not just that, people who want their content to not be censored. Right? So that's why we're really engaged in a much bigger conversation than just how do we make your stuff look good. It's how do we make sure your stuff doesn't disappear.
well, there's that, and it was also just how to make your stuff stand out amongst the noise that's out there. It's one thing to have the great opinion, but the Twilight Zone taught us, you be careful what you wish for, because when you finally get it, you fall asleep in that safe at the bank, and wake up to the end of the nuclear apocalypse and realize you have all this time to read only to break your glasses.
Right,
So
exactly. That is one of my all-time favorite episodes. I'm glad you brought that up. I was bringing that up. Is it the guy who could stop time? Was that the one?
No, that was the one who he was working at a bank, and he's very tired at a security guard
Oh,
job or
this is a
whatever.
different one.
He fell asleep in the safe,
Oh,
and when he
shit.
woke up, the safe had protected him from a nuclear bomb.
Love the Twilight Zone, man.
So he gets really
Just love it.
dark and depressed. Yeah, it was a hell of a show. I was listening to some commentary the other day on some of the writing of the Twilight Zone. But that I guess it took myself off topic. Um,
But no, what we're doing right now is we just kind of want to field some responses. We want to talk about some issues that we think are going to drive the type of content that we create on these channels, specifically the ones surrounding this company, this organization that we are setting up to become a support for your content.
sure.
We're not Rumble, but Rumble cannot give you the assistance that we hope to be able to provide. They're in the process of scaffolding out and building new software. That's awesome. But the truth of the matter is we are in this middle ground at the moment between YouTube and Rumble, as far as free speech goes. I mean, there's news that happened today that I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but I guess the government was asking Google for we need a list of who's watched what videos.
Oh,
That's
sure.
just
But I mean,
that's
I don't want to go into my conspiracy theory mode.
yeah, that's beyond good police work. Let's just say it's beyond the purview of what government should be able to do. And right now, what we want to do is, get an idea where the wind is blowing. Not because we are subservient to the industry, but because we're subservient to our freedom of speech, and we recognize the power in the platform. We recognize the power in these tools, and these tools should be in the hands of every American citizen who wants to utilize them. Doesn't mean it should be. I mean, it doesn't mean that every single piece of content out there is perfect, but you don't restrict the access. This is cashing in on some of the concepts of open source methodologies, which is the long tail. And the long tail, by according to Eric S. Raymond, and I'll tag you on this, Eric, is that in his book, The Cathedral and the Bazaar, is when everybody has equal access. The more eyeballs on a problem, the more likelihood that you're going to find an issue. Well, when media is using an open source methodology where it's anybody who can anybody has an eyeball and anybody has a voice and everybody has the opportunity to freely speak without chilling effect, well, you're going to have the cream rise to the top. Not every person who decides to get out there and bullshit is going to rise to the top. Not everybody who wants to do things based off of their ego is going to rise to the top. But the truth is that the truth will rise to the top. And the only method of restricting the truth rising to the top is by using aggressive censorship practices, which have been embedded into these systems from the time they were launched. We just realized that we needed to relaunch all of these systems so that they were free of those shackles. And that's what I feel we are very privileged to be sitting at the apex, knowing what we know. And it's a very, what I really want to know is doing a news show, to bring it all back to the town hall here, doing a news show and talking about just the technology and trying to get really scripted on stuff has a value, but is that the most important thing we can be doing with you with our time right now? Is that what the need is? I think eventually it will be the need, but as we have seen over the past, I don't know, 6 months, it's been like, what has Rumble done in the past week? And maybe someone else did some shit too.
It's a little bit of that, but it's essentially from the beginning it was following your lead on these are the different softwares that are out there making, the ability
making our
to
industry accessible.
Yeah, these are the different ones, and in doing so we've tested quite a few of them, like I was pointing out at the beginning here, how what we were capable of doing on this platform due to the fact that we have these new softwares and we've been studying them and then presenting them as options for our future clients that may want to use this service. But what else have we been making? Well, I'm still spending my time in between job to job content creating, still continuing to work out new media, and it's what's interesting.
We haven't made it yet.
Well, what we're asking here is anyone who's in this time slot, what are you here in this time slot for? Because that, I think, matters.
Is the news valuable to you?
Is the news valuable to you? Do you like the way that we're doing the news? Because doing the news is a process.
Or is this conversation more of what you would bring more of you back? I think
whoever finds this past, present, or future should be exactly that.
Right.
Which part of this show is bringing you here because you're here at this time for the live?
Comment and let us know.
Are you here for the conversation that we're in, and when we get into our kind of our free-based conversation that we get into, or are you here for
free form? I think is what you meant to say.
Oh no! I'm very careful with my phrasing and my metaphors. I'm very careful with my metaphors.
So it's a Biden reference. Got it.
So, and just producing a show that of that level it takes work. We talk about having to, to go in and how you say. Find the news that seems to be within the realm of what we're talking about. What have these softwares done to change? What are the updates that they've offered? What are in these updates? Which softwares are at which level? This is what the world of streaming has to offer as far as the award ceremonies. This is we're just kind of covering that information. But
it could go deep, but that's what Nick Nimmons is doing right now for the remainder of YouTube. Hey, Samuel jumped in.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, you're backstage, Samuel. People can't hear you. I'm gonna bring Samuel on. All right. You're not in the show. He doesn't know.
So we have some behind the scenes going on in my ears. It's fun when you're on the other side trying to follow through it.
I'm gonna bring you in, Samuel. People can't hear you on the show. You're backstage. I'm bringing you up right now. Okay. Hey, buddy.
Good having you in. How are you?
You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where are you at right now?
Yeah. So let me show you something here very quick.
Okay.
Uh, I turn the camera so that you can.
This is what happens when you make the town hall link available to everybody.
Welcome to the town hall.
Yes.
Forgot how to
He's flipping his
stay here.
camera around right now.
Stop.
Got all the people here.
Are you at church, man?
The theater is packed.
It's a Good Friday.
Oh, are you at a
Okay, I'm
theater?
gonna leave now. Okay,
Oh, good. It's good seeing you.
be
Just
blessed.
thanks for stopping in.
Yes. Okay.
All right, bless you, buddy. Take care.
It's a cool guy.
That's
I like him.
hilarious.
Eh?
Samuel, I don't know where he's at. I don't know if he's at a church or if he's at a theater. I gotta mute. I'm gonna listen to offstage feeds, the bottom left there, if you want to quiet that in the background.
Yeah,
That
no,
may be
it's-
how we have to roll. So yeah,
You're gonna-
Samuel, I guess he's at a theater. I'm hoping that you're at a theater and going to see. It looks like a projector back there behind him. I'm hoping he's going to see Cabrini, which
Ooh.
I would like to make a little segue. Thank you, Samuel.
Sure. Cabrini, the period
Angel-
piece. out
Angel
in-
Studios film. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you were trying to gauge my interest as I was introducing the Church of Cinema concept to the internet. So
That was great, by the way. So Brian, my good friend here, has made, I think, the first template of what should be a very awesome series of him doing movie reviews, and you should check it out. We can even pull one up and give people a little taste of it. We'll put it in the links below, but very cool stuff that I had. I think I finally got to see the proof of concept in the last one that you posted, because we've only talked about it before.
I'm still there. I realized some of the things that I might want to change again are the lighting. I felt that my lighting was very typical flat stage lighting. I'm still using this one wall with my various decorations that I hardly utilize in the shot even.
Right.
But
The hat.
I want to bring the levels down so it feels more somber and thing. But yeah, there
may
was
have to
some
send
there
you
was
with
some
my green
moment
screen.
while editing. I'm sorry, I'm touching my face because I've had my cat here, who I wanted to mention in the video as well. She's been here this whole time, just like demanding tummy rubs. So
Nice. My
I've
cats
got
have left me alone.
cat fur all over my face from the tummy rubs. No, while I was editing, there was this great surreal moment where, having seen the movie years ago, I would commonly describe it. I sped watched it. I didn't necessarily sit and watch it the way I wanted to do with the
Sure.
concept of Church of Cinema. This idea of paying honor to the amount of work it used
greats.
to take to
I
produce film. You know,
I
the
want to-
acronym of film, F, frozen images of life.
Did you come up with this one?
Yeah, I was working on it. I was trying to get the end. I couldn't get the
I've
end.
never heard this before. So it had to be
Frozen
Brian.
images of life in mankind.
Okay.
Film.
Magic
But the idea
is-
being that this whole movie reviews was also just trying to put out interesting ideas. For example, my next project I'm working on, I'm talking about the movie Up. And while the movie Up, most people I remember how
What a good
it
film.
starts you off at the beginning and it makes you cry. With my current interpretation, I think it'll make you cry again when you realize how actually sad it is.
Right.
And how much depth that they used to put into those old Disney Pixars
That's a
before
great project. That's
the
a great,
Disney thing.
and
and
it's
so-
something you are uniquely dispositioned to do. And I think
Yes,
that's
it's-
a big key. You know, I want to parlay off of that a little bit, because I had a conversation with a friend of mine I'm trying to help launch a channel. I'm always trying to help someone launch a channel.
Sure.
If you know me, that's what I'm doing. And whether I'm getting paid for it or not, for some reason, it's what I'm trying to figure out how to turn that into a viable business model. But
Well,
it's
like I
what I
like
do
to
all the
tell
time.
people.
I'm just
It's
trying to
like-
help people make better content.
It's like I've told people before. I'm internet famous in the sense that millions of people have seen the work that I've done. Nobody knows who I am or what
Nobody
I
knows
look
you're
like.
behind it. Yeah.
and I never got paid enough for any of it.
Hey, at
But it
least I
was
got his
fun.
credits on the Chosen pilot.
Yeah. You always want to go back to that. Like that was the one.
It's
I
the
did.
first time I've
I
been on a
worked on.
legit credit
I
ever.
worked on so many films that like it was like pre-internet days where it was like we had IMDb, but I was still barely keeping track of that stuff because that was just another website that I didn't want to have to deal with back in the day. Always so antisocial. I got to meet
Well,
Doctor Who, but I never even put that company on my website. It's like,
yeah,
what am I
yeah.
gonna say? I worked for
Well,
it. I'm at Doctor Who. It was
and doing
cool.
stuff with Pwnecast, we got to meet so many celebrities at Comic Cons. Man, what a opportunity to get interviews. Going to a Comic Con is just interview generating. Matter of fact, could be something that as Seven Talents we need to possibly consider. Maybe we go and get a booth at a Comic Con and bring people in who have podcasts.
Sure.
I mean,
Well,
I guarantee you more than half of the people at a Comic Con are in this space.
Well, we were only 2 years removed from a con at Vegas where there were live podcasts on the floor of everything that we
Yep.
were doing.
Yep.
We were one of those new
We
age.
were the pioneers.
Yeah. Look at what we can do,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
First time Freedom Fest ever went live. We were the ones doing it for them. First time that Next News Network did CPAC. Might be the only time. No, we went twice. We did the whole live booth once. But yeah, we've had some amazing opportunities to be at the beginning of this. And I really feel like they're all converging now into this moment where we're all going to I don't think jump the shark is the right thing I want to say, but we're going to jump into the next version.
Oh no! I've officially jumped the shark. So, do you remember how once upon a time you told me, "Oh, you got to
Fonzie.
get into these YouTube shorts. You got to do these YouTube shorts."
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, "Like hell, am I ever going to do YouTube shorts? I'm not doing that short brain content. I make scripted and edited content. I create lyric videos where every single word is on screen in the proper font in the proper position. I self animate all of my, no." And then I worked hard for we mentioned the Church of Cinema already, released a rough cut of that. That's going to go to the Booth Monkeys channel this next coming week, is going to go
Super
live
cool.
there
Super
on the
cool.
official Booth Monkeys channel. I then posted one silly video to Shorts with my cat, and it produced at 5,000% higher in total view count, watch time, audience retention, shares,
Really?
interaction.
Just statistically
So
speaking, people are more interested
statistically
in your damn
speaking, right
cat.
now my damn cat is more
He's winning the
recognizably
internet.
famous, than all of the hard work and edits I'm putting
Oh, that's
into
brutal.
putting together these thoughts to try to generate opinion and engagement, all
Stop.
because I've never
Stop.
wanted to be an influencer, so I'm convincing my cat to be the influencer.
Perfect.
And I
I
don't know how
love
to
it.
blend my audience together. I'm currently producing 3 different types of content, and I feel bad for every single person on my YouTube channel that's there because of the Run the Jewel songs. And here's a picture of my
This is
stupid
real
cat.
talk with
So
Christian and Brian. That's what this is. It just turned into the fucking View.
I just don't understand that my cat is so much more successful. I'm just not even. I knew for certain my cat would be more successful. That's all I
Right.
knew. It was like the internet is cats is a phrase that I've heard a scary number of times, and
Fair.
I don't think it's a coincidence that when I said we are live, she almost instantly hopped up onto the
No.
dead keyboard
No.
to lay down
I had
and sit here and cover me in fur and give me the tummy rubs. Like she knew we were live. She's just waiting for her moment.
I have historical evidence that that couch over there has had my cat jump onto more shows because it's at home and not at a studio. And if we had like a studio pet, it would be the same story. If we were in a brick and mortar studio and we had, I don't know, a lot. I think that's going to have to be the rule. As much as I think it's a good idea to have like a emotional support animal.
No, I think cats are essential in every situation. I've had cats that worked at security sites with me that were just mousers, and they were they get paid for their work, but they were happy with what they did.
They earned their keep, is what
Cats
he's trying
cats
to
are
say.
typically great at keeping away evil spirits and also certain types of bugs they're good at tracking down.
Dude.
And yeah, just in general, they make for good stories. Like I remember working at a clinic in an animal hospital that housed cats. It was also a clinic slash what do you call it, rescue. And one time I'm in the middle of a patient history, and I'm in an exam room, and I go to open the drawer to pull out a piece of tool, and there's a cat just sleeping in the drawer. So I think the drawer is jammed, and I'm just sitting there tugging at it, and I realized, oh no, there's just a cat in the drawer sleeping in my exam room. So
Well,
they make for
if
fun
we
stories.
ever do move to a brick and mortar, we'll maybe have to open it to a poll, but they're going to be locked out of the studio space at the very least.
They'll have their own cat recording studio with their own cat switcher that they could just
Yeah,
walk
just a
on.
live cam. They just need a
No,
live cam.
no,
A
no.
cat house with
Well,
a
that's what we need to do. This is leading me into some of our new media ideas. So, you know how I want to take over this mall, right?
right, totally.
I can't wait to give you some of those ideas. It's no longer just taking over the cinema. Do you know how my favorite exercise is to throw basketballs through hoops?
Right.
I like to believe that that interaction is better than any Facebook like or video that pops up because I get the same amount of dopamine hit every time it goes in. And every time it misses, I got to pick my ass up and go chase that ball down and
Gotcha.
try to score it again. And it's
No, it's
actually
I've never really thought of the
fun.
psychology
It's
behind.
fun and exciting and exercise all at the same time. So, that's my way of getting out there
Sorry, I'm
and
not ignoring you. I'm trying to look through my. I have no shame here. I'm
sure.
looking through my YouTube history trying to find when I watched your video last. There it is.
The Church of Cinema. So yeah, we were talking about that before we got broke off. I said there's something zen about the way I was editing through it because it felt like each piece of footage they provided in the movie, along with my opinion, was able to kind of combine the two. I think my only regret so far is going with the robe concept. If you haven't read or got to that part of the Booth Monkey script, wearing a robe is because we would try to keep the fur and the dust from getting around in the film
The
projection booth,
cat
so we
fur.
had our own rooms. But yeah, I looked a little sick. I looked like I was like with the flu.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found it really interesting to see that like back in the day, those movies just did not give an F about like children's psychology. They're just like, hey, guess what? Movie starts, dad dead or walked away. Mom gets eaten because your stupid ass was jumping around in the middle of the night chasing a frog instead of laying low in the apocalypse. And because you had to go open your mouth, now your mom's dead.
Oh,
And
it's
and
brutal.
they still tell a heartwarming story about these kids just saying, F it, we're gonna keep trying, we're never gonna give up. And I just, it was one of those where it's like, oh, I have an opinion, I want to share it. So utilizing all the different technologies that we've worked on together that we've been sharing with our audience, this was the latest effort I've been able to produce into the Booth Monkeys
Well, you
mythology that I'm working
you
on,
you did
which
such a good
is
job with this one, man. It's really. I feel like you really found a format and a stride, and I can't wait for the next one. I can't wait till you do 2001. I can't wait until you do. I can't wait till we do a full Kubrick series, because
well,
I know where your head is at with that stuff, and I think everybody will be interested in what you have to disseminate about Stanley Kubrick.
well, you had mentioned in passing that there may be the type of people wanting to do, oh, let's get back to that C tier movie. Let's make one movie per month. And I wanted to say, well, if we ever had any person that interested in making concepts with us, I would want to switch to the music video spectrum
Right.
because there are dozens of short stories that, when produced at the highest quality, could produce one video per month for the next year to just show not
Right.
just Seven Talents capability of what we've been doing here in this live streaming world, but taking what we're already producing, with our outside vlogs and everything else, what we just showed with Church of Cinema, but producing even new content and higher quality content going into the world of music video and commercial, that next tier of budget that we've already, accomplished over the years that we're moving into, shooting things for the purposes of cinematography and making it look beautiful and making it have meaning behind the colors that we choose, the lighting that we choose, everything with a purpose, everything for a reason. So
Sure. No, it's a big deal what you did with this with this episode. I
But my tooth is in one. If we ever did, it would actually be just me pitching my Greenland conspiracy theory movie.
or the moon landing one,
No,
right?
no, no. 12,000 years ago, there was they discovered a comet landing in Greenland. It wasn't a comet. It was an Ark ship. That was the ship coming out of hyperspeed. Crash
The
landing.
internet is going
Crash
to
land.
eat your brain up. Is all I'm going to say,
That's where I
Brian.
get it from.
There's
I've already
something
seen
about
so much. And so it's basically Marvel's the Elementals. What was the one they did with all of the famous actors, where it was like not quite typical Marvel, and they had a bunch of like all of the ancient gods were based on us warriors or whatever. So it's in that same vein, but I would do it 2001 style, where you would basically show 12,000 years ago what the world would have been like for anyone living here on the planet, and
right.
then suddenly out of the sky, boom, something comes down, and then those creatures end up
What's
being
the
like the druids, but
What's
the
the
druids is
film
just
that
the way we
my
pronounce the word droids.
What's the film that my
Druids.
wife was telling you about? Telling me and you about last. It was where you have to be quiet because these aliens will fucking hear you, and that's how they attack. So it's all about. It's like hypertension.
Killer clowns from outer space.
No, no, it's a new one. Someone in chat, you'll know what that is. You got to tell me what that movie name is. Um, it's interesting to me that there is so much opportunity for psychological analysis in film, and
That's what we
the
talked.
fact
That's what I
what you
covered
do,
in.
what you
It's
do
what
is
I
you,
covered in the Church of Cinema, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
there's a
it's
certain
booth movies.
magical element to being there in a group of people in a setting with the lights down, with the sound
and
enveloping all around you.
and I
I
saw that we went to go see Cabrini last week, and
Okay,
it was awesome to experience this, and I mean the literal word awesome. It was full of awe
okay,
to be in a room with my fellowship and some other people that really resonated with the content, and when we felt just truly thankful. Nobody else was there, but to be able to clap
sure.
for a film was a communal experience that you just don't get on the Netflix experience. If anything, people are over talking. I think there's and you know what, the church thing is probably a really interesting concept, because when you go to a theater, you set your to talk is a taboo,
Sure.
just like talking in church is taboo.
Yes, but here's why I think that's why I went with the idea of Church of Cinema, right? Is at the Church of Cinema, we come together to see the sermon. The sermon of the day is typically the cinema which we will consume,
Right,
right?
right,
And
right.
so we consume the
And you
cinema.
can applaud for it, and you can
a-
interact with it, but
Yes,
you
yes,
don't override it.
but we as a group bathe in the light of the cinema and the sound of the cinema. We all experience the film in our own way, space and time, based on where we are there, what we've experienced before, and then afterwards the conversation happens. Right? The
Right.
reference for the first episode is I just pointed out my favorite points of that movie, but the goal of it is then the engagement of have you seen that movie? If not, well, stop what you're doing and go watch it, and then come back and engage. Most likely, you didn't even bother to watch this review if you didn't have some memory of that movie. And I wonder how accurate my interpretation of it was, because that's why, as I tease the next episode that I want to cover with Disney Pixar's Up, my first viewing was completely different than my most recent viewing. And
Right.
that was all based on my timeline, where I was in life and my experience. How the first time I watched it was in a cinema, in a group of people, with my kids, actually experiencing what you just described as awesome, that idea of awe.
Did you want to see the trailer for Cabrini? I got it queued up if you want to
I
watch
saw
it.
the trailer for Bergrini. Is that Tom
Can we
Hanks?
can we show it to everyone? Let's show it to everyone.
You're the one who wants me to cover that in one of my episodes. I have to
Yes.
actually sit through the cinema.
Yes. So here
But anyways,
I'm gonna go ahead.
that was the whole concept. Is that the cinema is the idea of sermon, and I think that something you and I should be getting more into, which you wanted to do, was if if one of the keystone phrases that you put into the business was this idea of taking the idea of word, I believe translated as logos,
Right.
into film. Well, film is our frozen images of living memories.
Right. It used to be stained
ILL.
glass, right?
So
Light, light
how
passing
do
through
we
glass, trying to tell this story.
how do we capture, and the idea is, you say it with your word, but I do believe the translation, it comes from the word logos, right?
Logos,
Logos, right?
logos. Yep.
Which has a much deeper meaning than just the idea of
It's the
words. So
psychology. It's the thought.
that's where I wonder is as you and I gather on Friday nights, and I've been able to consistently keep this time open for us despite
Thank you,
the
by the way. Thank
struggle
you.
that it's been to survive this spring. This
Yes.
spring being extra pressure by the TLAs that want to know how it is that I do what I do,
Right.
and then
Right.
keeping a very close eye on everything, have made it very difficult.
They
But
have.
we've been able to find this time. Well, how are we supposed to use it so that the audience who's tuning in with us actually wants to see what the hell we're talking about? Are you enjoying us finding, which softwares are being updated, or do you enjoy us talking this kind of shit and
I
sharing all
think
the other ideas we did? Because
I know what I enjoy more. And I think at the very least, just from this experience alone, we should be doing this at least quarterly.
sure,
And tell me, is it the tipping point? Is this something you want to see weekly, not quarterly? Is this something we should do once a month?
yeah.
Should we
How
get
many of you
on?
who are watching this show actually are missing out on the news today? You said there were stories that we could have covered. We
Oh,
just didn't put
I
it together, and
no,
as
I
I
didn't
mentioned
have the
earlier, it's like
time.
to actually put together the news show to the level we're doing requires, coordination, timing. You have
Pre-production.
to, capture these graphics and either manipulate them in a
But
way that is going to capture people's eye or present them honestly.
we are good enough at what we do, the two of us, and you're like I said, I fully expect you to be better at these tools than I am because you've been with me since the very, very, very beginning. And I don't think people realize that. Maybe I'll bring up the mural board and fucking show that to everybody. This is a passion play for us. This is not like, oh, let's decide to do this next week.
Sure.
We're not in it for the fame. This is who we are. This is what we do, and we are in the process of figuring out how our content is going to land. Just like you will go through that process when you decide that you want to make content, you go through these growth pangs of, well, what is our real voice? When we find our voice of who we are, because I'm going to go back to what I opened this with. The reason we do this show is to let you know who we are, to let you know the expertise we have to offer. And if that's through news, great. If it's through town halls, great. Whatever that is, whatever 5 other options I don't even maybe understand yet, the end
Well,
goal is the same. We need
you
to
kind of bring up
establish
this
expertise.
with this is it kind of leads to what we've always been doing, which is yes, we've been able to consistently produce the news now,
And
but
it's
there are
it's
different seasons where, as I just mentioned, where our production should be leading us to, especially the idea of word and film and getting to that next level of production is
which not everybody's
different
familiar
types.
with that organization.
Sure. But
But
there's different types of productions that we're going to get into. We're also not necessarily both of us the front of camera type people. I mean, sure, we're
no, but
we're ma- we're wearing our matching Seven Talents
oh,
polos,
what the fuck?
rocket.
Because we've
We
gotten
have our our
paid
our,
to
our
do this for
hats.
others in the
Yes,
past.
yes. So what I mean is that this is us filling in for the future talent that may want to do what we do better, but doesn't necessarily have the wherewithal or plan to say, oh, how do you get that split screen?
Yeah,
And what can we do? I just happen to be stumbling across a website, and something about your beard drew me in.
yeah. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's exactly what's happening
I don't know what it is.
here.
IRL, I just use all of my dick gravity. You can't do that on the internet. It's hard to see from the picture box. Gravity doesn't transfer that way. It's
Hey, I'm doing some invites via Signal with friends of mine to see if they're interested in maybe checking this out and maybe sharing.
Sure. You are also setting up. You keep wanting to go with Arlo? No, not Arlo.
Cabrini. I want to watch
Cabrini.
so
Is that
we're gonna
Tom
watch,
Hanks? Is Tom Hanks in that movie?
No, John Lithgow.
That's who it is.
He's
Okay.
Shakespearean.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, Lithgow is
He's
is
classically
classic.
trained. He is not a joke in this.
Okay.
And does an amazing job as the mayor of New York.
Yeah.
It's a great film, and we're going to watch it again. I'm going to put the trailer on. While you're watching the trailer, if you got the time, take action, make a comment, share, like, follow, whatever the heck the buttons are. Feed the algorithm for us while we're doing this, and I'm going to make some Twitter posts while it's playing.
do those internet things if
I'm going to do
if
the
you've
internet
gotten
things
this
while
far.
we're watching the trailer. Yeah.
You should know what to do.
Here we go, and I'll be we'll still be here.
Open your eyes. This is America. The greatest nation on earth.
You know, I
Where
did
rats
notice in watching this,
have it
they
better.
really do have a style of cinematography.
Oh my God, it feels
They're
like a
sticking
Scorsese
to everything. Look at the leading lines in that single point.
This is the
it's-
most artistically beautiful film I think I've ever seen, Brian.
Well, you know why? They're just following the rule of Kubrick. Center frame everything. Have a lot of long leading lines where all the lines
Kubrick
point.
did make his way into
Every brick, every line, every angle in that
There are
frame is
so many
drawing
of
your
those for
attention
you to drink
inward to
in.
these kids. Yeah, and that sounds beautiful to be able to see someone, a team that said,
There's
we're
the
not
art.
just gonna shoot this in a green screen. We're gonna put you in period proper clothes. We're not just going to point the camera in your direction. We're gonna color it. We're gonna do all of the things that you want. Hold on a second. Have you heard of the Booth Monkeys? The Booth Monkeys is currently available on Patreon. Patreon.com/the Booth Monkeys will actually get you access to the work. This is the pitch I do when they call me now. I'm just trying to make sure that they all go to patreon.com/the Booth Monkeys. Average people, I don't want your money. I always want to continue to do everything I do and give it away for free. But damn it, all of you investment type people, let's make this trickle-down economy work. Let's prove it. Go invest at patreon.com, and that trickle-down economy will get back to you, I swear.
Yeah, so I'm going to back it up. We're gonna let this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was just saying, is like, you're talking about
Dude, it's
that.
beautiful. It's
Everything I
beautiful
saw when I
film.
watched this trailer the first time round, spoilers, look at those lights.
Yeah,
Look at the
that.
way they compose every shot to be center balanced with deep single point linear perspective.
Yeah, I love your perspective on this. I was unpacking some of my ideas on this last night in conversation at a meeting, an actual town hall meeting, and
Okay.
it was astonishing to me that.
Are you questioning the mayorship of my town here that I'm claiming?
Yeah, a little bit.
In this hall we're in together.
This is it. This is the one. This is I think what we're building right now. This community is our town. So, is what it is.
Yar.
All right, backing it up, playing again. Sorry, it's freaking awesome.
The greatest nation on earth. Where rats have it better than Italian children. If we are to build an empire of hope, we must first conquer New York.
Our New York is being threatened by a wave of brown-skinned filth.
They just keep coming. We ought to ship them all back.
We have to show America we are all people of dignity. I want to build an orphanage and give the abandoned children the love they so badly need.
If you're asking my permission, no. Your mission is over, Mother.
My mission is barely begun. This is a beautiful place to live in. Now we need to fill it with children.
Be careful. This place will eat you alive.
You're under arrest. Even the Pope cannot protect you from what may come.
You have to learn to face your fears.
Who the hell do you think you are?
I am a woman, and I am Italian. We are all the same. All human beings. Children of God.
I believe I'm being threatened by a nun.
Most of these Italians are already Americans. You have an election coming up, do you not?
And I thought you were new at this.
Sorry, Visual Feast is absolutely right. I'm backing it up for this one scene.
Election coming up.
Right, I mean, there's your balance again. Right?
Uh-huh. And it's subtle too, but you see it
And I thought you were
in
new at this.
everything from where they place them
Yeah,
within the
look at that.
production design.
Look at that.
This is perfect
Negative
use of
space.
negative space. Yeah.
Negative space.
Trying to make that
Look at the balance.
creating a doorway, yeah.
It's gorgeous.
C'è un solo, piccolo
It
gesto
also
d'amore. Può cambiare ogni cosa.
it also makes an attempt at showing a genuine strong woman in cinema without it being
I'm not going to say it. I'm going to let you say it.
without it necessarily being them taking sort of the masculine trait of strong women. Like everyone talked up, Quentin Tarantino and Kill Bill and strong women. They're like, well, no, this is a pretty accurate show of what the mother character is supposed to look like in the great stories of old that the storytellers told that kept us going as a species. The idea of the mother, the matron, and the maiden, and how they all work together. Yeah, it's actual representation and not false flag representation.
That's an interesting way to put it. I would have used different words, but I think we both agree on exactly what's happening.
I like to use my phrasing and metaphors and mix them up.
Exactly.
My most recent lyric music video, I basically described the making process like making a piece of great toast.
Yeah.
First, you have to toast the background just right. Then you have to layer in the butter of the lyrics. And while it may not make any sense to anyone who reads it, it makes complete sense to me because as I design my timelines and I lay down my toast layer background and I animate it to give it that proper toasting, I just take one long stick of text and I just keep chopping a little piece off and sliding it over and working with it.
Hey,
Chop a little
speaking of
piece
which,
off.
I have entered
toast
into
on bread.
my script writing phase.
Okay.
I have been collecting all of my documents. I've been a long time subscriber purchaser of Scrivener, and I am now moving all of my content that I've been collecting over the past 5 years into Scrivener. And so some interesting things are happening there. Maybe we'll make some content about possible script writing for larger format film. What it is to we can get into screenwriting lessons. We can get into so. This is an interesting segue. I'm gonna steal the screen for half a second here. I was talking with a friend of mine earlier today, trying to help him out, and you don't realize the basics that you forget when you're teaching someone about live streaming. And it was apparent to me that I had skipped over and made some very large sweeping assumptions when working with a lot of people. And I think we need to also look at doing some instructional series that talk about when you are a content creator, at the end of the day, and you're gonna be nodding your head on this, hardcore, guaranteed. At the end of the day, you are a business owner, right? Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
DBA it's Mr.
You're
BPG is
have
basically me DBA as myself,
right?
As you've once described the Batman to my Bruce Wayne.
Exactly. So when you decide that you want to make content seriously, you become a business owner, and all the rules of business ownership will start to apply to you making your content. You're going to need an email address for that podcast. You're going to need a Twitter address for that. You don't want your personal communications and the company's communications clouding each other, and you can support them. Like we have a 7 Talents account on Twitter, and we have our personal accounts. And my personal account I'm responsible for that. But I put on a different hat and I think differently when I am communicating as the company. And there is some filtration. It's kind of like when you walk into a bar, when you walk into a restaurant, you walk into a town hall. You walk into something where you don't know who you're talking to, and you want to be polite and you want to put your best foot forward because you're representing your business. That's what happens when you start making content. Now, sometimes your content might be to be like Step Brothers. We're here to F stuff up. And so maybe you need to have your communication channels that you set for your show to be even more aggressive than you are in reality. I don't know. But your show has its own voice. You are creating an entity. And if you start making money at making content, which is very possible due to platforms like this, you're going to want to probably pay tax. You don't want, no one wants to pay taxes, but if you believe in paying taxes and decide to do that thing, you're going to want it to have its own. You want to have it an S corp or an LLC. You're going to want a checking account that is for payouts. You don't want that to get muddied up with your personal stuff. Like, you can only be so successful before you have to start acting like a business. Because a lot of people do this out of personal interest. And there are some things that I think we can train people on. Our friend Jen could really help onboard people into understanding, if I'm going to make this show with these 5 people, you're marrying those people to a certain extent. And you need to go through a form of marriage counseling, which she has developed like a counseling process for people who go into business together. And it might be something that we offer exclusively through Seven Talents. I don't know. But there's major opportunities to teach people all of these things that they don't consider when they just start following their wanderlust of, I want to be a content creator. So more stuff, more things to bullet point. We'll outline that. Obviously, everything that we do, we make elaborate outlines and use those to guide our future conversations and future offerings. So it's good to talk. And if you've got ideas as well that you want to make sure that we consider, holy crap, we're almost at an hour, 52 minutes. But if you want to get in on this and add something to the conversation, what will happen when you join us, when we do these live off-the-cuff town halls, is you participating with us gets added to our notes. It becomes part of our guidance system. And we want to leave that open to you to be part of this conversation, part of our guidance system. Help us become what is most beneficial for you.
Correct, because if you don't tell us what you want us to cover, whether it's news or anything else, I'm just going to continue to self-promote all the things I've been working on.
As you should. And you're demonstrating, honestly.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why I brought up the whole cat thing. We talked about for, content creators and drawing attention, having to capture eyes in this, hyper interactive world we have where, algorithms suggest the next thing. And I can see in real time what type of content is responsive, what type of things, and then, building an audience off of that. It's all based on just understanding the flow of media. There's a large portion of media consumers who are now in the world of YouTube, but just for the shorts. They want to see the short video, the next short video.
Right.
They want that little distraction.
Oh, there is, and there's a whole industry to just. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of people are in this game because they've seen someone or know someone that got monetized.
Sure. And so we're here just, poking around at different parts of the machine and then reporting from inside, well, this is what I've discovered.
Right.
I can spend a week editing together
let
my
us
best
be your
thoughts on
geeky friends
things.
that have done this before. I think is really all we're imploring, and hopefully we can build that into some form of symbiotic relationship that our time is valuable to you, your time is valuable. I mean, we are about community. We are going to build, I believe, at the very least, I can promise you this. I'm not shutting down Seven Talents anytime soon. We are here for the long haul. We have been here for the long haul. If people understood the depth of our history, they would they would lose their minds. I don't know how long you want to go into that. I would be even willing to pull that up off my crazy diary board and show people how long we've been at this, because it's truly inspiring that you have been so diligent and you have
Well,
been here. And don't get me wrong, I know you've been wanting to jump ship on this entire new media.
well, it's just the fact that I'm in front of the camera now. Like I don't know what
I don't
face
want to
I'm
be in front of
supposed
the
to
camera.
make while you're talking. I miss the days of just being able to quietly push a button behind the scenes to be able
I
to
feel that.
explain people what the mapping means and how we utilize the different buttons and
Yep.
I miss those days where my audience
Where you
was
just
the
got to
team on
focus
my.
on being the artist.
Yes, or it wasn't necessarily. Well, my performance wasn't my art. I was a performer up until I hit my head really hard. Then after that, I got
Is
stage
that the
fright.
excuse?
I'll never forget being in a car wreck where I flipped my car. I went back to work in the projection booth, and I knew how to load the film, but I didn't know how to read the damn schedule.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
so I'm in this theater.
There's something. A friend of mine brought up this thing about traumatic brain injury
Yeah,
affecting
TBI.
memory, TBI. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of I found that there's interesting parallels. By the way, if we're going to plug content, one of the shows that I plan to do is called The Advantage, where we talk. I plan to talk at length about ADD and how to manage and cope with it as an adult.
Sure.
Lots of different methodologies, lots of technological, lots of herbal, lots of disciplinary exercise, those types of things. Obviously, I'm not doing the exercise part. That's to come.
You got to come out and shoot hoops with me.
Yeah, exactly. But that is another piece of content, another direction that I'm going to spend effort and time in, because I think it's valuable. I think it's something that has a community around it that doesn't have enough people championing these topics.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's why I just continue to make things that I enjoy for myself as an artist, because I'm just as likely to become ultra famous monetized by doing 4-hour videos of me stroking my beard on a windy day with a field in the background is just as likely to be successful as any of the content that I've produced so far. So
I think that's
I see you loading up some behind
yeah.
some of the board there.
So this is 20, dude. We've been at it. This
I
is goes.
just actually emailed you my most recent update of the Miro, my new 21st century resume, which basically reads like a horizontal thing.
Yeah, doing the primaries in 2012. Shoot, we did our house at that time, but yeah, it's interesting. I didn't have you for this photo shoot, but how
I wouldn't
long
get
we've
that
been
close
at
to
this.
people. I've always hated being close in pictures.
But this is where we're comfortable, right?
Oh,
Behind
sure.
the scenes.
Yeah, that might even be me in the suspenders. I always wore suspenders.
That is you. That's your ponytail.
Oh,
Holy
God.
crap. I didn't know it was you in the shot. Of course, you're on the board. But yeah, behind the scenes. I mean,
Maybe.
this has been a long.
That might not be me then.
No,
I don't
it's you.
remember when I shaved all my hair.
We do. Looks like.
Although I do like rocking the suspenders. That is
Dude.
definitely one of my things to do.
I think that was you. But there's history behind what we are trying to figure out how to package correctly for you. So we're almost at an hour, 58 minutes. You want to wrap it at an hour, and
Yeah,
because
let's
I know
wrap it up.
we could probably do this for 3 hours. It's amazing to me that when we're
I
doing
doubt my
news-
ass could handle this wooden stool for the next 2 hours. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we might be able to keep the conversation going, but I also want to sit down and watch the movie and do the other types of content, which is weird. So like I said, building the content we want to make, but also doing what we have a passion for and what we have a calling for.
Here's,
Because at the
here's
end of the day, it's that standard that we have to live to for the content that we create. What are we creating that fits what we actually want to do in our life here?
right. I'll tell you something else. If you like what we just did here, this is so easy. This is us just sitting down and talking.
Don't tell them that now. You just ruined our whole bidding process. Like, man, this
It's
is so
easy for
hard.
us to talk about
This is
our
why I
stuff.
need to make so much money per hour, because this is fucking exhausting. Can you feel
No.
I'm just
For
teasing.
us to just talk is so
It is
much
great.
easier.
It
than
is
the
great to catch
production.
up. Yeah, just like this. To be
And
able
we
to
can
do
do
that.
this. If you prefer this type of content, we can easily pivot into this.
Yeah.
So we do have some things that we'd love you to do. Love for you to follow us on Rumble.
Yes.
Give us a follow there. We're going to lean into that platform a lot. Obviously, if it's not obvious by my hat, got to do a visit with them and pretty stoked about everything that's happening in that arena.
Yeah,
Also,
Booth Monkeys will be on Rumble as well,
Booth
along
Monkeys
with
is
everything
there.
we do. Seven Talents is a part of that. We still have to talk off camera about all the new fun stuff that I got going on with that. So
We are still on YouTube. We advise all of you to multi-stream. Multi-streaming is key to getting people to migrate from one platform to another. Because the honest truth is that there are strategies even we're not employing that we plan to employ, which is how to start a stream on one side, and then, the tools eventually will allow us to follow certain methodologies that allows you to fish your audience out of one major pool and put them into your own pool. So, because of that, we're on YouTube, as you can see, at Seven Talents as well. I think it's actually Seven Talents.com. I may have mistyped that one. And we will be here Friday again at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time next Friday as well. And if you want, please share this out. And if you've got something else you want to engage with us in, as we are really revamping, rebuilding our site, rebuilding our offerings, we are in that moment that we're finding out what our voice really is and what our offering really is. Give us an email. You're catching us early as we are setting up shop. This is what it looks like when we're setting up shop. When we're done setting up shop, it'll be different. It'll be even better than this. Hopefully this isn't painful for you to watch. But if you want to do things in these manners, or you have questions about what we're doing, how we're doing it, shoot us an email, info@seventalents.com, or just go to seventalents.com and check us out. Thank you for spending an hour with us. Thank you, Brian, for hanging with me. I really want to do this again soon. This was so darn fun. And there is a ton of news, by the way, that I may just have to go on and maybe we'll just shift the news to tomorrow or something. But I feel like we have to do these town halls, or we need to give these town halls their own time segment. But if you prefer this, here's the big question. I'm going to close it out with this. If you prefer this to news and you think this is more valuable, then we'll pivot. I would almost rather do things like this, but I still want to figure out the process of doing a news show correctly.
Let's see what the audience of the future has to tell us. We'll catch up to you next week. Good to see you today this way.
Thanks, guys. Take care of yourself. I don't know who's going to do the music and who's doing the shutout.
I guess I got music.
I'll do shutout. That was beautiful. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all later.